morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm here with Shannon Phillips, our Alberta NDP finance critic for pension and insurance issues. And we're gathered today on the traditional territory of Treaty 6, and I'd also like to acknowledge the Métis people of Alberta who share a very deep connection with this land. Before I begin, I also would like to congratulate the Manitoba NDP and specifically Manitoba Premier-elect Wab Kinew on a historic election victory in that province. My friend Wab has been elected the first First Nations Premier of a Canadian province, and I know he will serve with integrity, provide hope for so many, and will also take necessary and critical action to rebuild public health care. I look forward to continuing to work with him as partners on the collective challenges that we all face. Now today, we're here to talk about Albertans' pensions and the UCP's plot to gamble them away. Currently, the UCP are in the midst of a $7.5 million advertising campaign built entirely on make-believe numbers and assumptions, all of which are designed to convince Albertans that it's to their benefit to leave the Canada Pension Plan, one of the best investment funds in the world. The advertising campaign is being funded by public money, Albertans' money. And I'm sure we've all seen the billboards and digital and the TV ads. But the online survey that this campaign points Albertans to doesn't even ask them the most critical question of all. Do Albertans actually support pulling out of CPP? As Shannon said last week, it would be like the government asking Albertans what their favorite color of unicorn is and completely ignoring the basic question of whether unicorns are real. So, this doesn't strike me as public consultation, but rather pure propaganda designed to drive a referendum that Albertans never asked for and that the Premier refused herself to debate during the election. Okay, so as a result of that, we chose to deliver our own survey about what Albertans think around the issue of leaving CPP and allowing the UCP to jeopardize their retirement security. And so, as I say, we launched that very brief survey of our own just last week. And yes, that survey actually asks Albertans if they support leaving CPP in the first place. So I'm here today to say that as of 5 p.m. last night, we had received 17,000 responses to that survey. And the overwhelming feedback from those 17,000 Albertans is that they want the UCP to keep their hands off of their CPP and their pension. So I'm now going to turn things over to Shannon, who can go through some of the feedback that we have seen thus far.
Well, thank you, Rachel. And I want to thank the 17,000 plus Albertans who have taken the time to fill out our survey so far at albertasfuture.ca. Now, I'm told by our staff that this is the most popular survey that we have ever released in opposition, dating back to 2019. It has had even more public response out of the gate than our petition against coal mining in the Eastern Slopes did in 2020. And we all know that that is another very contentious issue that the UCP appears to be rolling forward with and rolling back its commitments on as we speak. So in all, on CPP, 88.39% of Albertans responding to our survey do not support leaving the CPP. We asked a very simple question. Do you want to leave the CPP? They don't want the UCP gambling with their retirement security. Now, these are all unique respondents and have all provided an Alberta address and either an email address or a phone number or both. We've also found a great many Albertans understand the risks of leaving the CPP. They know what the stakes are here. They know that, and they are wise to the phony numbers being peddled by Danielle Smith. And they are not happy that public money is being used to advertise in favor of a referendum that they never wanted in the first place. Now, there's some very detailed responses that our staff are happy to share offline, but we've captured a bit of the sentiment in a few slides here. So I categorically don't trust the UCP at all. Risks of leaving the CPP are too high, wrote one woman from Edmonton. An Alberta Beach resident wrote to say, I don't trust that they will use the money only for pensions. And indeed, we know that Danielle Smith mused during her leadership campaign just a little over a year ago that she could use our pension money for an Alberta police service that no one wants, and other separatist flights of fancy. Now, other respondents got a bit more animated, like this person from Calgary who wrote, Danielle Smith and the UCP have mismanaged every single financial decision that they have made. Please, please do not let her do this. Please. Note the use of 4 pleases in the all caps. Clearly, people are very, very concerned about the future of their retirement security, and they are right to be. The Albertans I'm hearing from have worked hard for their retirement. Their pension is not a political toy, and as our leader Rachel Notley said, their message to the UCP is to keep their hands off of CPP. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Shannon, and thank you for all the work that you've been doing standing up for the retirement security of all Albertans. Certainly, we have also heard public feedback from other organizations like the Calgary Chamber of Commerce, members of the Alberta Chamber of Commerce, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, and others who fear that leaving the CPP is bad for the economy and could have a negative impact on investor certainty. And other groups, like the Canadian Association of Retired Persons, have also spoken out against the risks of leaving CPP and what that will do for seniors. Albertans watching right now can have your say in our online survey, which will remain up online until the legislature sits later at the end of this month. It's available, as Shannon's already said, at albertasfuture.ca. In the coming days, Shannon will also be announcing details of an online town hall and several in-person town halls that we'll be hosting on this critically important matter. Your retirement security is so important, and I want Albertans to know that the Alberta NDP will do everything in our power to protect your CPP and to protect your retirement security. So thank you, and we're happy to take any questions that folks here might have.
Thank you, and I'll check for questions in the room. Seeing none, we'll go to questions online. Just a reminder to press *9 if you're joining us on the phone. Use the raise hand function if you're joining us via Zoom. If you could say your name and your outlet at the top, we'll go to our first caller. Go ahead, caller, your line is open. I think we can almost hear you there. Okay, we'll circle back. We'll go to our next caller. Go ahead, Lucy.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. It's Don Braid here.
Hi, Don.
Yeah, I just want to ask you if you could give us a little more context on the NDP victory in Manitoba. It seems to flip the formula a little bit in Western Canada. Now it's 2-2 instead of 3-1. Has some implications perhaps for UCP policy. I don't think we're going to hear much more about a pipeline to Churchill. And also, in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of startling, one would suggest, for those conservatives who seem to think they can get support by going as far right as possible under the circumstances. Could you comment on some or all of that?
Well, sure. Again, I was so happy for our friend Wob to succeed last night and to become, the First Nations premier of one of the 10 provinces in the history of our country. That's super exciting. And, what he did was he honed in very positively by talking to talking to Manitobans about healthcare and about their concerns with respect to healthcare. In Manitoba, like so many places across the country, citizens have been watching the slow deterioration of their healthcare system with growing levels of alarm. And WAB offered a positive vision and a positive practical plan to improve the healthcare, the public healthcare that so many people all across this country, quite frankly, depend on and care about. So that was his focus, and obviously that was successful. And so I think that the politics of division and of distraction, I hope we'll start to see that in the rearview mirror a bit, because this was what mattered to folks, and that along with the practical proposals with respect to affordability. That's what folks were looking for, and I'm very excited to see WAB deliver on those in the months and years to come.
Any follow-up, John?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask again about the larger meaning of this for the sort of power balance, if it were in Western Canada, and also about what you think it tells Conservatives.
Well, again,
in general.
Yeah, I mean,
across the country.
Sure. I mean, I think, what it's saying is that folks want positive solutions. Provincial governments, one of the single biggest things that they do is they provide public health care, and people care about that. And certainly in Alberta, we've seen our government try to distract from the ongoing train wreck, which is our public health care system in this province. Every time they touch it, it gets worse. And we've seen them try to distract by playing a whole bunch of divisive games that they've imported from the U.S. and all those things. But what we saw in Manitoba was that you saw a clear, authentic offer to the people of Manitoba around a commitment to improve and protect public health care, and you saw the people of Manitoba choose that over the politics of division. And I think you'll see the same kind of thing driving a lot of the conversation in BC. And we know, obviously, we increased our support here in Alberta, not as much as we'd hoped to, but we did increase our support. And I think you're going to see similar focuses all across the country, quite honestly.
And we'll go to our next caller.
Hi, I'm Lucy Haynes. I'm the editor at Alberta Prime Times. Nice to talk with you. I wonder if you can comment, not specifically, but say in general, if who you primarily have been hearing from with your survey or with calls and letters to your MLA offices, is it primarily seniors that are sounding the alarm about leaving the Canada Pension Plan? And if so, that's who I'm hearing from, of course, at Alberta Prime Times. But if it is, then do you feel like part of the education campaign in months to come, will the work be also in trying to get the younger population, the younger workers in the province, to kind of weigh in on where they're at, if they have that same concern about creating an Alberta pension plan?
Well, I'll let Shannon jump in a sec too in terms of more detail on the survey. But what we know, first of all, over 17,000 respondents in less than 2 weeks. That is unprecedented in terms of the level of response we've gotten. I mean, we've put that out on albertasfuture.ca. We don't have millions and millions of dollars like the provincial government does to advertise. Yet people have very much come to it very quickly to offer up their concerns. What I'm hearing across the board forward. For sure, we are hearing from seniors, but we're actually hearing from Albertans from all walks of life. You know, young people who are aware of the financial pressures that their parents or their older loved ones might have. Other folks who are just thinking about their future down the road. Folks who are concerned about our economic growth and investor certainty. Those folks are weighing in as well because they understand the overall level of uncertainty that this creates in terms of bringing people to Alberta in the long term as well as securing investment dollars. So there's a range of concerns that drive the opposition to this issue. Did you want to add anything? Sure. Yeah.
So, in addition to all of these, this overwhelming response on the survey, I've had about 1,500 local emails into my constituency, and I represent about 50,000 people from across, and they are in no way, shape, or form exclusively seniors, because you have to remember that every single one of us contributes to the CPP from the very first paycheck that we collect as teenagers. We see those deductions on there. The CPP is our money. It is deferred income that we all pool together, regardless of where we live and where we retire, to get the same benefits based on our income through our working lives. And so that is why folks are very, very concerned about this. And it spans all demographics. When I did a review of those emails, I noticed that it was people who are my age, in their mid-40s, who are starting now to think about what their retirement looks like and getting a little scared, frankly, about where their savings might be. And the CPP is that one leg of your retirement planning stool that is there for you. And to see Danielle Smith come in and want to gamble that away is tremendously alarming to people. And that's why in the polling that we have already, we had polling about this just before the election, 75% or more of Albertans oppose leaving the CPP, including 2/3 of UCP supporters.
Any follow-up, Lucy?
Thanks for that. I'm just thinking even of, your fellow NDP, like commentary from people outside of Alberta too. Are you hearing from them? Are they saying, are they asking you, like, what's going on there? Why would I want to invest in Alberta? Would I want to come to Alberta? Like, do you hear voices from outside the province?
Well, we hear voices from outside the province, not just from fellow New Democrats, but from people from all political affiliations. They across the board are concerned about what this means for Canadians. Let's remember, Danielle Smith seems to think that she can use our retirement savings as some kind of political tool to go at the federal government. But this isn't a swing at the federal government. This is taking a swing at the retirement security of our fellow Canadians from coast to coast to coast, our uncles, our aunts, our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, our friends, people all across this country who may have lived here and may have moved, who may live somewhere else and plan to move here, the whole thing, because we're all part of the country. And so we hear from everybody, as well as, again, we're hearing from people in other political parties outside of Alberta, including Conservatives from outside of Alberta, who are deeply concerned about this game that Danielle Smith is playing, this roll of the dice that she's committed to doing with our money. It's unacceptable.
We'll go to our next caller.
Hi, it's Lisa Johnson from the Edmonton Journal. I think you mentioned, Rachel, that your survey is going to close before the legislative session in October, so correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm wondering why in that survey you collected contact information. Is this a fundraising effort, a data collection effort, as well as collecting information from people about their opinion?
No, not at all. For one thing, you have to have a certain amount of information so that you've got individual survey respondents and you're and folks understand that they're legitimate and real. And the other piece of it is to be able to communicate with folks about the matter of Canada Pension Plan. People are worried, and they want to know what the various mechanisms are that they can use to fight to protect their pension. And so this is about continuing that conversation. We wouldn't be doing fundraising or anything like that from it. That wouldn't be appropriate. This is just about engaging with folks about an issue that they are very concerned about. They've come to the official opposition, asked us to raise this on their behalf, and of course it's completely appropriate for us to be able to continue that dialogue with folks on this issue. Now is the time to stop this issue in its tracks. That's what we're going to focus on doing. But until that's happened, we're going to be talking with these Albertans about all the things they can do to make sure that the government reverses course on such an unpopular proposal.
Any follow-up, Lisa?
Thanks, yeah, this is completely unrelated, sorry for this, but I'm also wondering if you're planning, Rachel, to go to the federal NDP's convention out east next week.
No, I'm not planning on that.
And we'll go to our next caller. Go ahead, Catherine. Your line is open.
Sorry, I was muted. Okay, sorry, Catherine Kowski, Alberta Today. Was there anything that surprised you in this feedback, or another angle that you hadn't thought about? It sounds like there's a huge flood of emails. Was there anything surprising in the feedback you got so far?
Honestly, what surprised us the most was the intensity and the speed of the response. We've had albertasfuture.ca up. You've heard us talk about it many times in the past. Now for around 4 years, we've had a whole number of ways through that in which we've engaged with Albertans. We have just never seen anything like this level of response and the speed of response from folks. And it's not just, do you support yay or nay? It's like people are taking the time to write their comments and talk about their concerns about it. So that was probably our biggest surprise. We understood what the polls said people believed on this, but we were not expecting to get that level of response that quickly. Anything else, Shannon? No. About that? Okay. Thanks.
Any follow-up, Catherine?
Yeah, on another topic, I just was chatting with the health minister. She presented her plan for decentralization of HS to the cabinet. I'm wondering, is there anything that you're concerned or will be watching for related to the health minister's mandate to decentralize Alberta Health Services?
There are many, many, many areas of concern around that plan. Let's be clear. This provincial government has failed to deliver on Danielle Smith's commitment to quote-unquote fix healthcare. Quite the opposite. Things have gotten considerably worse under her watch. What they're talking about now is putting a whole new level of chaos and disorganization on top of a system that is already struggling. I worry as well about her plan to carve things out and, wait for it, privatize them. And we've seen that that doesn't work. That's what they did with labs. They were convinced that if they gave labs to the private sector, everything would be less expensive and more efficient. Quite the opposite. We're paying money, throwing good money after bad, and the quality of service has dropped in a way no one could have expected. So now I suspect these folks, completely incapable of learning from their mistakes, will try to do that with other types of healthcare services. So I'm very, very worried about the many ways in which this government is going to further undermine the quality of healthcare received by Albertans. And I'll just add this. This minister has overseen the most damaging attack on the quality of our public education received by our kids that I've seen in decades. And now she's being let loose on our healthcare system. And I'm deeply worried.
And that's all for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.